Hello and welcome you to my video classes on water governance and water policy. Right, it is a part of water resource management subject. So we are studying different kind of topics and we are studying very new topics to civil engineering field. Why? Because this kind of subject we not learn earlier. These are the entirely new and it will make some difficulty to make it understand. But I'll try my level best to make you to understand with a easy explanation and with the easy examples. So today we are mainly discussing about role of local institutes. So role of local institutes. So here it is what very simple and only we have to understand the meaning of each word. So one is role, we know what we mean by what kind of importance it has, right? Next we have a local means what, nearby our area. It may be a village level or it may be a intra village level or some group of villages, or maybe it is a taluka level, or it is maybe a district level. It is called as local institutes means what, in some developed country they may call for some organizations as an institute. Maybe it is a government organizations or government department. For example, if we have a irrigation department, they will call irrigation institutes. So the institute means what, which are who are managing the activities, those are called as institutes. So here it is, we have to discuss what kind of importance of their of local institutes related to water management, right? So here myself Vishwanath, our team, right, we'll see what kind of discussions we are making in this video. So here we are making discussion about introduction. So here you are understanding what you mean by local institute and some details about local institute, advantages and disadvantages. Very simple. So here, sustainability of water projects, sustainability of water project. We know what you mean by project. Maybe it is a construction of dam or construction of canal or construction of some water activity project is increasingly becoming an area of concern. So just you can see the word. It is becoming an area of concern. Concern means what? We have to take care of it for researchers and development practitioner. So here it is what, who are developing active, who are making the developmental activities as well as who are making the research. So for them, sustainability of the water project are taking a very importance. Why, we'll discuss, right? So here it is, the cited unsustainability of water project indicates the lack of strong local institute that would create an enabling environment. So here it is what, why that unsustainability of water project indicates at a lack of strong local institute. It is what, there is no strong local institute. We have an institute at the state level, or we have an institute at the regional level, or we have an institute at the national level. So what about the local level, who will take care of it? So due to the non good or strong, it is what they use the word strong local institute that would create an alarming environment. We studied in our integrated water resource management what do you mean by enabling environment. Enabling environment means what, it has to make a good such an environment that the people has to come and they has to participate and they has to get a good performance. That is what called the enabling environment. So right, so next point is, it is now widely acknowledged that the water crisis is a governance crisis rather than just a resource crisis. So here it is what, two words are there main important. One is the governance crisis and here it is what, resource crisis. So whether it is a governance crisis or it is a resource crisis. Resource crisis means what, lack of availability of resource. So here it is, they are telling that it's not because of lack of resources are, we have a rich resources, but we are lagging in governance activities. Governance activities means what, how to manage it. So how to make control, law and order, right, and without affecting the daily activities. We have a government and government are making governance activities. So that is what, similarly we can make a governance activities in water. So it is not a resource crisis, it is made by government crisis or governance crisis, not proper management. If you don't have proper management, then you can call it as a governance crisis. This has led to changing water model. So here it is what we are changing the water management model. Water management model means what? There will be some method. We are going some different some like no old method to new method. We'll see. While policymakers moving from hard path, so here it is what hard path. Hard path means what? A massive construction of concentrated centralized, sorry, it is what hard path of massive construction of centralized infrastructures to soft path of integrated water resource management with a local institute. So instead of centralized institute means what? Maybe institute are there in a state level, maybe in a capital cities, or maybe in a regional cities, not in a local level. So that's what, from hard path of centralized management to soft path of local management. So that is called as the like no here we can understand why local institute are required. For example, through establishing water users association, it is one example. We can make a establishment of water users association. So how we have associations or group. So similarly here also they are making some group, and that group is taking the activities related to water management, right? So in a rural area, the government is trying to transfer the water management responsibilities and authorities. So two words very important here, it is the management responsibilities as well as the authorities means what? For example, some officers will be there, then the officers has some like no officers, even they have some responsibilities and authorities. Both responsibilities and authorities government is transferring to water users associations, right? We studied about this, why they want to transfer. Why? Because they want to make a reduction or burden of the financial condition as well as the management or lack of human resource. That's what they want to make, from centralized management to local management by transferring the irrigation management activities, right? So next we'll go for local institute, right? So I told why local institute are required, right? Why? Because we want to make a sustainability means very good performance. So when we are getting the good performance, when we are moving from centralized management to localized management, or we can call hard path of management to soft path of management, or we can call top to bottom management to like no bottom to up management, right? So next, here it is the local institute system like water user associations, local water authorities, NGOs, etc. So here it is what we are like no, we know what you mean by institute. So the institute means management authority. So that management authority should be in a local level. Maybe it is a village panchayat, or in a village panchayat we have a water authority or water department. Those are called as a local institute, maybe a water user organizations also, or even for NGO which are working towards the water management. You can take an example of, in India we have a Pani Foundation, right? So even that Pani Foundation is taking the like no some developmental activities of groundwater in India. So that even those are called as a local institute, right? Operates within the framework set at national and subnational levels. Don't get confused. Here it is what they will set the framework at a national level or subnational level, but the rules and regulation will be framed by government. It may be in a national level or in a state level. Why? Because the same rules and regulations will be applicable throughout the water user associations. It may be in different places, but they have to work under the rules and regulations. We studied how water user like no users organizations or associations are formed. It is under some act, right? So similarly they has to work under rules and regulation, and those are rules and regulations are uniform in maybe national level or subnational level. Depending on the degree of decentralizations, depending on degree of decentralizations, local institute have a certain flexibility within this framework to create bylaws and policies. So it depends on the state to state. So some state they make less decentralizations, and some state they may go for more decentralizations. So based on the regional conditions, as I told, it may be a sub-national level or national level or state level, right? So if some states are good in making flexibility, but some states are there, they are strict. Why? Based on the availability of water. If water is available more, then they make some non-rigid and flexible rules and regulations. If you have water crisis, when we have a resource less, then they will make some hard rules and regulations, so depending on the condition, right? So here it is what, even water user, a local institute can make their own rules and regulations. Why? Because as I told, water management is not a blueprint for entire country. It all depends on the local conditions, that even local people can make bylaws as well as policies to make the management within the boundary of prescribed legal within the boundaries of prescribed legal and policy frameworks. Local institute themselves have some flexible to adopt the governance structure locally to benefit local needs and conditions. So it is main focus is what, governance structure locally. Governance structure locally means governor, we are making the management locally to benefit the local needs, to benefit local needs and conditions. But how it is? By adopting flexible frameworks. We know what you mean by framework. As I told, some limited conditions we have, within that conditions only we have to work. For example, when you have a door frame, what do you mean by door frame? We have some opening, and within that opening only we have to enter inside the room, right? So here also we have some framework rules and regulation to make the local institute. Within that only we have to make. It is not mean that whatever I want I can do in local institute. No, it is under rules and regulations we have to do within the rules and regulations. For example, when you are playing the cricket, can you play according to you only? No, according to rules and regulations which are set by international committee or national committee of rules and regulations. Similarly, here also when you want to make a management with a local authority or institute, we have to work within the rules and regulations. This includes creating local legislation, policies, and especially opening up decision-making process to more stakeholders from whom a better understanding of local issues can be gained and additional resources and capability derived. So these kind of words, it is very difficult to understand, but I'll try my level best to make it easy. So here it is what, this includes creating local legislation. Local legislation means local rules and regulations and policies, especially opening up the decision making process to more stakeholders. So more stakeholders means what, here it is a participation, not it is only by monopolic means what, a single person cannot take a decision. The decision has to be taken from a committee or stakeholders, right? It is democratic system in a local level, right? So there is what, decision making process is more stakeholders from whom a better understanding of local issues, it is what, better understanding of local issues can be gained and additional resource and capabilities are taken. It right now we are getting more capabilities as well as the additional resources, right? So next is, the local government can use their own area of competence. Local government means local institute can use their own area of competence to continue to strengthen democracy. Here it is what, strengthen democracy at the root level, right? Democracy means not in a national level, state level, even we have to make a democratic conditions in a root level. Root level means ground level of local condition. And justice, even it is what, justice at the local level, and thus lay down reform from bottom up. So here it is what, reform, it is what, from bottom up. Bottom up means from local condition to up to national level, or main management activities at the national levels. So next we will go for some of the advantages of local institutes. So some of the advantages means what kind of different advantages we can make for a sustainable management. So one by one, very easy, very simple words are there. First one is, local institutes are able to adopt a local needs and react more quickly to the local problems. So here it is, we know what kind of our villages, what need exactly we need to make the improvement. Some people they need irrigation water, some people they need less irrigation water based on the resource availability. So that's what local institute are able to adopt local needs, their needs, and more quickly they will react more quickly to the local problems. So quick reaction we can make and even make quick improvement because we have a management at local level. Political awakening in a rural area, even we are making political awakening, how political activities will take place, right? How MLAs will work, how MPs will work, all the kind of some awareness will be made in a rural area, and how we can if you have a knowledge how we can become from normal person to a good leader, that kind of things we can make awareness in the local people in a rural area. Next is local institute are closer to the public, right? Local institute are closer to the public and allows them to have a more direct voice in the running of services. So it is what local institute are closer to the public. It is not a single person property. It is a public property, right? And allows them to have a more direct voice. More direct voice means what? We can go and you can ask why it is not no, we are not getting water. Where is the problem? What kind? And when you will supply? When you are making to repair of that? We can make your own voice and you can ask them in the running of the service. Running of the service means some activities. For example, we are getting water, then you can call water service is running, right? Within that only you can make. Why? Because it is near to you. You can go and you can ask your problem, or you can give a complaint, or even you can ask whether it is done or not done, right? Because of locally available authority. It, provi- it provides an opportunity to the people to participate and solve their problems. So here it is what people should not wait for the leaders, right? So who they given a vote, right? They should not wait up to the leader will come and he will solve. He can solve by themselves and they can make the improvement. That opportunity they will get by making the local institutes, right? I'll repeat, it provides an opportunity to the people to participate and solve their own problems, not waiting for government. It helps in training people to run the government. Here it is what it helps to run the government. How in national level it will work, similarly it will work in a village level or local level. It promotes self-reliance and a sense of responsibility among the people. So it is what they will feel some responsibilities, right? And even they will make self-dependent, not dependent on the government. They will make self-dependent and they will be more confidence in among them, among the people. It reduces the burden of the central and state government. So it is what it reduces the burden of the central and state government by performing several tasks. So government is not only responsible for water, even it has responsible for education, even it has to take the activities of transportation, even they has to maintain the law and order, even they has to manage all the things. So that's what they it will reduce the management activities from centralized to decentralized. It means what government is reducing their work, right? It also decreases the dependence of the people on the state and central government. As I told, they should not wait for the government, whether government will come and they will solve our problems. No, they will make discussion and they will have a self-funded, and they made no, they can make discuss and they have some solution without depending on the government. So next we'll go for disadvantages of local institute. I'll not call for disadvantage, limitations. Some limitations will be there, right? We'll see what kind of limitations. Very simple, very normal limitations, right? One is no proper distribution of power. So here it is what power means. For example, if you have a if you have one position in any organization, for example our prime minister has some power. So here it is no proper distribution of power and work among the member, and no qualification required to become a member. So here it is what no qualification is required. I'm not mean that it is even qualified people will perform very good, but some required knowledge will be there. It is not it will not come by only degree. Even it can come by a proper learning through experience also. So if you are good or knowledgeable person among in that area, then you are qualified person. Qualify means what? Qualification means what? You should have some knowledge related to that. So then you are a qualified person. right? So here it is what, no proper distribution of power and no qualification required to become a member. Next is, it is difficult to recruit the capable people as a head or leader at the local level. So it is in the local level it is very difficult to recruit a good person who can able or who can lead that activities. So that is what, very difficult. Next is insufficient fund given by the state governments, due to which they function improperly. So even they have self-funded, or maybe government is giving a local institute, means just I'll take an example of village panchayat. So if village panchayat also should get the fund from the state government. When they are not giving proper fund, then they cannot perform very in a good conditions. That's what, it depends on the funding condition of the state government to the local institutes. Yes, and one more is large land landowners and landlords tend to use money and muscle power to win the rule, rule. So here it is what, you can see how the people, they, if they are rich, right, if they are rich, then they will use that money to control the activities. Even we seen, right, vote for like no, note for vote, it means that we have to give a note to get a vote. So even that kind of activities they may take, right? So these are the some disadvantages of local institutes, right? I think you understood. To just I'll make a summary, like no, what we discussed today. So we discussed it is a role of local institute. Local institute means what, it is a locally available authority. It may be a people formed group, or it may be a government agency, or it may be NGOs also, right? And then we discussed, right, what are the some advantages. It is mainly related to they can solve local problems, and they can quickly like no, quickly they can solve the problems, and even you can visit. Why? Because it is local available, and you will be comfortable. Why? Because the management will be by local people. So many advantages are there. And similarly we discussed the some of the limitations or disadvantages. One is no proper distribution of power. Next is difficult to recruit a good person, insufficient fund from the government, right? So then as if they have a good condition, if you have, they have a money, and if we have a muscle power, they can win and they can rule, right? These are the some disadvantages, right? So thank you for watching this video. I think you understood. If you like this kind of videos, just make a like and subscribe my channel.